Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mahdi Tijani back with you. The video we're about to do today is hella painful. Hella painful. But before we even get to that, I've just authored a mini e-booklet. Red flags, 3 red flags you must avoid in Muslim women that you are considering for marriage at all costs. It's short and sweet and it's completely free. Hit the link in the description.
Hi guys, I'm so sad right now because I just came to a realization these past few days have been so hard for me. Cause you know how men say that women have toxic feminism and you'll get to a certain age and no one will want to marry you and no one will love you. I feel like I've gotten to that point, guys. I was so hung on to this feminism thing and I missed out on marriage and on children. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm so bitter. I'm so jealous of people who have marriages because they are so happy and their husbands don't even cheat on them. And men are just the best. Right now is when I'm realizing I can't do without them. And right now I'm I don't care if you are rich or poor, tall, dark, handsome, ugly. I don't care, by the way. As long as you're a man and you're breathing, that's the only qualification I need, because I'm just so desperate for a husband. There's a lot of pressure around me. So if you can DM me and propose, I'm sure I'll be and I'll marry you immediately. I'll wash your clothes, I'll cook for you, I'll have your children, and I'll be obedient and a submissive wife, because that is what you guys want. I'm no longer a feminist, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. That was hard to watch. This is the second or third time I've watched this. I've had a number of you send me this video on Instagram. Let's put this back into full screen. Let's just go with the notion that this is a legit video, because it's possible that this is a joke, that is satire. It's possible, okay? And actually, her face reminded me of, you know, that girl who blew up on Instagram recently for making funny videos with the crisps and then laughing.
Another iPhone has been released. I just think it's amazing. How you release new phones when we can't afford the ones available?
But let's just go with the notion, humor me, that this is a legitimate video, okay? The major point for the young ladies in particular, who are watching this video right now, is the following. Men and women are different. We have different assets and different hindrances, shall we say. We have different privileges to one another. Women have privileges that men don't have. Men have privileges that women don't have. Okay? And in general, it balances itself out. However, those privileges are different. They are different. One of the privileges that a woman is born with is that she is born with value. A woman comes into this world with value. A woman enters her prime at around, well, I mean, there's an argument as to when a woman peaks in terms of her beauty and so on. I'm firmly of the opinion it's around the age of 18, 19, and then after that the decline begins from there. But regardless of what age you think it is, whether it's 18 or 22, 23, a woman enters her prime and becomes valuable to the sexual marketplace, to the marriage marketplace. She becomes desired. She has lots of options open to her. Even an average-looking woman, an average-looking 18-year-old young woman will have plenty of options to choose from, because women are born with value. You're born with it. Men are not. Men are born with precisely no value. Men are expendable. Men die for women. That's our primary role. If the tough gets going, if the going gets tough and then the tough have to get going, guess what? Men have to go to war and die for you. So men inherently don't have value. The only type of men who have value are the ones who go out there and create it and make something significant of themselves. They're the only type of men who become valuable. The proverbial high-value man. The high-value man. Hence the thumbnail, the brand of the thumbnail you see in the corner when you clicked on this video. But only those type of men actually have value. Aside from that, they don't have any. But there's a catch. There's a catch. And the catch is this. You as a woman, you enter your prime. And the problem with entering your prime is that ever since you were born, you had value. You were valued. It's a privilege that is invisible to you because you always had it. Shout out to Myron Gaines. Privilege is invisible to those who have it. You always had it. And here's where it becomes your vice. Because you always had it from birth up until however old you are right now, if you're still in your early to mid 20s, you don't recognize it as a privilege. You don't realize the blessing that you have. And then you allow that time to pass in place of career and job and whatever else it may be. You allow that time to pass, and then suddenly, the attention starts drying up. And you begin to realize that men are paying less attention to you. And you begin to realize that men are becoming less tolerant of your demands, whereas they were far more tolerant of it before when you were in your early 20s. They were willing to put up with that. But here's the real kicker. A man can wake up when he's 40, 50, 60, having made nothing of himself whatsoever, complete bum, and decide in that moment, you know what? I'm sick of this life. I am going to turn my life around, and I'm gonna make something substantial. And 5 years later, he becomes a multimillionaire, maybe even a billionaire. Colonel Sanders comes to mind, founder of KFC. He founded KFC after he retired at the age of 64 or 65. That's when he got on the street with his wheelbarrow and started selling his fried chicken, which now sells all around the world and is a massive multi-conglomerate. A man can do that. It's not ideal. Gentlemen, you should not be waiting until 60 to make something of yourself, obviously. But my point is this. You can do it. You can wait. You can be a late bloomer. And then if you put in the work, and it's a big if you put in the work and then you succeed, and that's also another big if. But if you do, you can become high value, desirable to the market, to the sexual marketplace, to the marriage marketplace. It's not the same for women. You don't have that privilege. You have the privilege of being born with value. That's your privilege. Men are not born with it. Men have the privilege of being able to go out there, create something of value, and if we do, then we can become perpetually valuable pretty much over a lifetime. Hence why you see multi-billionaire Russian oligarchs with the most beautiful young supermodels on their yachts, for example. You never once saw an 80-year-old female Russian oligarch with 20-year-old male models on her yacht. And even if that does happen, that's an apex fallacy. It's an anomaly. It's an anomaly. It's not even a desire of an 80-year-old woman to be surrounded by tons of young men whom she has sexual access to. And if you're going to bring one exception to the rule, say, oh no, but there's this one, that's an exception to the rule. That's a desire of a man, not a woman. See, the privilege that you have, ladies, it doesn't last. That privilege of youth and beauty and of being desired and of getting attention so easily, pretty privilege. It doesn't last. It fades. It wilts. And if you haven't cashed your chips by the time the lights come on at the age of 25, 26, you're done. You're done. I've said this before. If you are not married by 25 years old, you are in deep shit. Deep shit. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But if you are not married by 25 years old, ladies, I'm talking to you, not to the men. If you're not married by 25, you are in deep shit. You want to know why? Because now, the man that you want, he's looking at the girls younger than you. Because there's a significant difference in the look of a woman, of an 18-year-old to a 25-year-old, of a 19-year-old to a 25-year-old, of a 20-year-old to a 25-year-old, of a 21-year-old to a 25-year-old. You don't believe me? Go and look at your photos. Go and pull out your photo album. Probably got it on your phone. Have a look at what you looked like when you were 20. Now you might come back and say, but what about my intelligence? What about my experience? What about my career? We don't give a shit. Please understand this. In fact, your experience is a hindrance. It's a vice. Because you're like clay. Women are like clay. When they're young, that clay is soft, malleable, agreeable, can form the shape that you want. It can conform to the needs of a man much more easily. She can get on his team much more easily. As you get older, that clay begins to harden. You begin to become set in your ways. It's just a fact of life. It happens to men as well. Men also are like clay. Men also are more malleable when they're young and harder when they're older. The difference being, however, you women are looking for leaders in men. Men are not looking for leaders in a woman. Therefore, the one who is the leader is looking for a follower. He's looking for a follower. And even in organizations, companies, corporations, when they're looking for followers, they hire young blood. When they're looking for leaders, they are looking to hire experienced professionals, seasoned professionals, with a number of notches under their belt. Perhaps multiple decades of experience if it's for senior C-suite positions. That's the way it goes. So a man's age is a virtue to a woman. A woman's age is a vice to a man. And a lot of women confuse this. They confuse this because you value maturity, experience, leadership qualities in a man. You think that men must also value leadership, maturity, and experience in a woman. No, we don't. Please understand this. No, we do not value your experience, your maturity, so-called maturity, by the way. It's a disguise, it's a guise, it's a distraction, it's not maturity. Your so-called leadership qualities. No, we don't value that. We value your ability to be led. If you are looking for a leader, we are looking for someone to lead with ease, easily, without problems, without mashakil and headache. And you are most easy to lead when you're in your late teens, early 20s. Late teens, early 20s. Ladies, stop sacrificing your best years for a worthless degree. Pull out that degree. Worthless. Debt around your neck for the rest of your life. That makes you even more unattractive to a man who's going to take on that debt with him once he marries you. The vast majority of graduates do jack diddly with their degrees. Unless you're going down a profession with a very clear-cut goal. I'm doing medicine so I can become a doctor. I'm doing engineering so I can become a civil engineer, and so on. And women are not doing those degrees. The vast majority of women do degrees in the social sciences, psychology and sociology and so on. Degrees that don't matter. Subjects that don't matter. Yes, I said it. They don't matter. In the grand scheme of things, if you want to talk about what keeps the world turning round, it's not those subjects. It's not sociology and it's not psychology. No. It's the STEM subjects that keep the world turning. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. You don't like those subjects. The vast majority of women don't go down that route. Don't study those subjects, and that's absolutely fine. But why are you putting this noose of debt around your neck, whilst at the same time pissing away your best years, your most privileged years? It makes no sense. Feminism lied to you. Feminism lied to you. Because like that lady you saw in the video just now, and again, humor me. Humor me. Maybe it is satire. I don't know. I don't know. But let's humor me. Because there are women who are going through this, whether this is satire or not. Like her, once you make the realization, it's too late. There's no going back. It's finished. It's done. Khalas. There is no rewinding the clock. And there's 2 points I want to hang on what she mentioned. She mentioned that she sees her friends' husbands, they don't cheat. They don't cheat on her, on their wives. There's a misconception in the world that men globally are cheating on their wives. No, this is not true. Firstly and foremostly, cheating is almost 50-50. Infidelity amongst husband and wife, statistically speaking, is almost 50-50. That's the first thing. The second thing is, most average men who have a wife feel happy to have a wife. Very happy. And I remember a study that Abba and Preach were reading off one of their videos. And in this study, they asked men, if a woman came along and she had 80% of all the things you were looking for in her, just 80%, not 100%, she had 80% of all the things that you were looking for, would you take her? Would you marry her? And the men were like, hell yes, 80%? That's incredible. They flipped the question and they asked the women, if a man came along and he had 80% of all the things that you wanted in him, but the other 20% is not there, would you take him? And the answer from the women was a resounding, I will never settle.